Okay, change of plan. I did tell a fib. The last episode, I did say that this was going to be the end of season 1. Well, it's not. We're going to keep rolling with episodes. It's a little bit like, do you remember Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where he goes, I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. Well, it's a little bit like that, but a slightly more timid British version, and I don't sell stocks and I'm not high on cocaine, thankfully. Also, in other exciting news, take a look. This is brand new. This wasn't here before. My guest today is what I would describe as a street culture phenomenon. There's no one else I know who does what he does, certainly not as well. He's already, in a short space of time, interviewed the likes of Central C and Skepta. Jesus, we're saying some impressive names on this podcast nowadays. If you see him interviewing people at an event, you immediately know it's relevant. I think he's bound to make me feel a little bit old on this episode, but that's totally okay. So I think without further ado, we should get to know FD from the You Know just a little bit better, go a little bit deeper and find out more about him. This is episode 5. I'm as shocked as you are. Let's do this, baby. FD.
Crazy. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Ski. Yes,
hair's
sir.
looking good, man. Everything's looking 30 right now.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Come on.
What a pleasure to have you here, FD, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Welcome to the podcast.
Come on. We've been trying to do this for a while, innit?
Yeah,
So.
well, mate, the first thing I wanted to talk about with you is that we've only just met now.
Yeah.
And actually, you're the first guest who I've not met before, so I feel
Okay.
like it's keeping me on my toes. But this is like really... No, but I've been excited to meet you, man, because I've been following what you've been doing for quite a while.
Appreciate it, man.
And the thing that has been like glaringly obvious to me so far is your drive,
Yeah.
your work ethic,
Yeah.
and I'm sure your ambition.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said. I've been listening a lot to, when I've been training a lot, I listen to a lot of Central C, right?
Okay, yeah.
And there's that new song he's got with Ray, you
Yeah.
know, Moi.
Yeah.
And he's got that lyric where he says, good things come to those who wait.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
I don't believe something that, but I don't believe that. Bro, you got to grind.
Yeah.
And the thing about your stuff and why I love watching your content, as I know that this is a man who's just got up and done it himself.
Yeah,
He has
for
not
sure.
waited around for a handout, and you've just, raw action wins. Do you know what I mean? And I was just wondering, are you enjoying the momentum of what's going on with you at the moment and it being all self-created, man?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, because I think everybody kind of no one's really asked me that.
Well, for starters, I think you should be very proud of yourself.
Appreciate it, man.
And you obviously have a real drive inside you.
Yeah.
Do you think that's always been there?
I mean, in answer to your first question, I'm enjoying it so much more now. I think it's weird because we'll go deeper into it.
Yeah. We got plenty of time.
Yeah,
man.
I think, because I came into this thing in music and then I left music, came into the content world and sneakers, and then kind of went from sneakers to like the streetwear scene, and then went from the streetwear scene to the music scene. But like me not making music, me like being involved in it, and then kind of became this whole like documenter of culture in general. It's like now people really like, I feel like last year people were like, oh, he's a content creator. But now people are more like, nah, you know what? He documents this, like culture, like he documents this and that. So now I feel like I'm enjoying it a lot more because I've built a platform, but now I'm using a platform for like good things.
Yeah.
So a lot of community-based work and things like that. And
I feel like you've created your own job role, though. I can't think of anyone else who does what you do, or certainly not as well.
Yeah,
And
definitely not as well.
That's a very
Definitely
clever
not
thing
as
as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, you're on my timeline every day.
That's the
like
plan,
every
man.
morning. I'm
That's
like,
the plan.
there's FD, and it's either like you're interviewing someone, or it's a competition, or it's just active, man, very active,
Yeah,
and it's
active,
so refreshing to see because I don't see that much like that kind of ferociousness in many people in terms of how much that you're on it on a daily basis, always doing things.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I think, we can properly get into it, but I mean, what I do now was never part of my plan. I wanted to be a rapper, innit? So
Do you
like,
think? Yeah, you know,
it's
what,
all just is just like I've been given an
yeah.
opportunity, so I might as well like make the most of it.
There's an interesting thing I've really been thinking about is that, you know, like everyone kind of always says, like, don't give up on your dreams, like never quit, right?
I'm like the opposite of that.
But I think there's an element of keep on reading the room as you do this stuff, and what's the sense and the vibe that you get back from what it is you're doing.
Well,
And so it's not like not never give up on your dream, but you can change your dream.
So
You can alter, you
yeah,
know, change direction slightly.
it's interesting because I went on another podcast end of last year, and you know, I had this kind of like a epiphany, I guess, where I was saying that, you know, if I didn't give up on my dream, I'd probably still be in my ends. Like,
Yes.
but the thing is, I think one of the worst pieces of advice I think people tell is like, oh yeah, never give up on your dream.
That's what I mean.
I don't think that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Because, you know, with music, yeah, people see how hard I work with this.
Yeah.
But I feel like I worked even harder with music.
Yeah,
because
right.
I was doing like freestyles like every other day.
Yeah.
I have a catalog which is still out there. You know,
Yeah.
I did music videos all self-funded, all of
Yeah.
this self-funded, and I really tried, innit?
Yeah.
And like I was like coming back and forth to London when I modeled and like pressuring my music on everyone and whatever.
Yeah.
Like I really did 4 years of solid work.
Yeah.
And there was multiple reasons why I stopped music, but the main thing was I just didn't love it anymore.
Yeah. I think so questioning that never give up on your dream thing, I think is definitely valid. But I do also think the don't give up thing, very valid. Because that's one thing that you haven't done is that, you know.
It's like you have to kind of be honest with yourself, innit? Like,
yes. Delusion's good up to a point, you know, or like kind of self-belief. But again, it's this thing of reading the room and just getting a sense of how things are connecting or not connecting with people.
Yeah.
And to have a bit of an open mind, which clearly you have had. To see a gap or something else, or maybe I'll just try and do this, and it hasn't felt super strategic to me. What's really exciting about exciting about watching you is that like it's almost growing in real time, and I can see that, you know, you've created your own opportunity and your own kind of job role, and in a way, I mean, I can totally relate. I've always been very driven. And in terms of creating your own opportunities, you're kind of sitting in mine.
Yeah.
Do you know
This
what
is
I mean?
fire. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the same thing. I was like, do you know what? I've always been like a naturally curious person. I've always been like interested in other people, and you know, obviously, I've realized I'm quite uniquely placed in the sense that like I know a lot of people from being around in music, in fashion. And I'm just so like blown away by the people that end up sitting on these couches, and yourself included.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, this is really kind of happening, you know?
Yeah,
like,
life is a weird one because I think when you're younger, like, I'm 26, innit? But I feel like I've lived like 100 lives.
Bro, imagine how I feel. I'm like 38 years
So
old.
that's what I'm saying. So I feel like when you're younger, you're so like, what's the word? Like you're so engulfed by your life, innit? And the people around you, the area. Like I grew up outside of London, innit?
Yeah.
I grew up in Crawley, West Sussex. You know, I got big out every single time.
Yeah. You know Casper, don't you? Casper Massey. Yeah. He directed some of my music videos back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
I've always had a good vibe
is so
with
small,
him.
innit?
It is really small. Yeah.
Yeah, big up Casper. He from Horsham, innit? It's a
Yes.
different area in the county. But you know, like Crawley, Horsham, like we take that shit.
Yeah, he's picked me up from Seven Bridges before. Is it Seven Bridges or Seven Oaks?
3 Bridges.
3 Bridges, that's it. 3 Bridges.
That's in Crawley though.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Are they nearby? I mean, I just spoke to Casper the other day and he was like, FD's my boy. Like,
yeah.
You know, he's doing really well. Get him on the podcast.
They're very nearby, but they're like, Horsham's a nicer area of the county, innit? Like of West Sussex. Crawley's a lot more run down. Okay. So like, if you're from there, they take that very serious. Like, yeah, I'm from Crawley, I'm from Horsham, whatever. Like,
okay, big, like, there's a difference. There's like,
different style.
Okay. But it didn't stop you guys being friends?
No, because I ended up going to college in Horsham.
Okay, right.
And my dad ended up moving to Horsham.
Okay.
Right when I moved colleges, or right when I was going to college. So it was late in certain ways because like when I went to college, it was around the corner from my house.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll just get everybody to my yard, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was also bad in some ways because like there was a lot of shit that would happen, you know, both sides or whatever. And
Yeah,
it was just a bit.
Was it
Yeah.
hard growing up in Crawley? Was it rough?
Yeah, it was rough, innit?
Yeah.
So basically,
And did you get caught up in stuff?
yeah. So right. So let me answer the last thing that you first asked me.
Okay. Do you know what? Please
Yeah,
stay on me with this
Yeah,
because I got ADHD,
Yeah,
so I
same,
tend to
same,
ask a
I
lot of
definitely
questions.
do.
And so
Yeah, so-
feel free.
What you were saying about strategy, everything I've done has not been strategy like up
Yeah.
until this point.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, my guy Will, my manager, we're now working more strategic and you know, real business
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But everything up until this point wasn't strategy, but it was planned out in a way.
Yeah.
Some things you cannot plan in it, like some of
Yes.
the opportunities I've built for
It's
myself.
kind of part of the beauty of it, really.
Right.
You've got to turn up.
You gotta turn up.
Yeah.
So back to Crawley.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. So basically, I'm South African Italian.
Okay.
So my parents met in South Africa. He just arrived.
Okay. Shout out the manager.
Shout out Will.
Shout out Will.
So my parents are immigrants. They basically left South Africa, Joburg, because it was rough. Basically.
Joburg is,
Especially
famously,
early 2000s, early 1998.
yeah.
1998, I was born. I think we moved in 1999, 2000.
Were you born in South Africa?
I was born in South Africa.
Okay.
You already know the vibes. I don't have an English passport. Don't come for me. I've got a settled status. Listen. So, and I got an Italian passport, so I don't even have a UK passport.
Okay.
Real immigrant.
Yeah.
Real immigrant sense. Anyway,
This might be a stupid question, but does that make it hard to get paid in this country?
no,
If you don't have a
because
no, okay, it doesn't affect anything. Okay,
yeah, no.
because you know the same way that if I wanted to go and make
Different-
money
it's
in
like-
America,
It's like visas, isn't it? But the
yeah,
thing
you
is,
don't need a
'cause-
visa to
No, because
be
obviously
here, work here.
we were part of the European Union, innit?
Yeah, okay,
So
there you go.
I've been calm. Touch
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah, no trouble.
You know how they be doing us in this country.
Yes,
bruv.
exactly.
Anyway, so we migrated to this country with like nothing, innit?
How old were you?
Probably like 1, maybe like 2. Yeah. So I was born in South Africa. My brother was already probably like 2, 3. And then my parents were like, yeah, we're done in it. Like, we need to start fresh. And they were together at the time.
Okay.
We moved to Crawley. Gatwick is in Crawley.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, I always got told that Crawley was like a place that a lot of people would like migrate to because it was like near the airport. It was near
Right,
the train
yeah.
stations, which would go to London, to
Yeah.
Brighton. So it's quite a good place for people to migrate to.
Yeah.
There was a lot of opportunity in that way, you know, rail workers and things like that. So, you know, I grew up around a lot of culture, innit? Naturally.
Yeah.
But it was funny, yeah, because we moved, when my parents were together, we moved to an area in Crawley called Bubush, which was like, I guess, it was, I'm pretty sure all of it was like council housing,
Yeah.
like an area, there's like little mini boroughs in Crawley, innit?
Yeah.
So Bubush was one of them. Bubush, Broadfield, probably the worst areas, but they were all very like council housing. But the thing is, where I'm from, there's less council flats, you know, like blocks. It's
Yeah.
more council housing, innit?
Okay, right.
So
right.
like, same type of poverty, but just in a house.
Yeah.
Like,
But by nature, Crawley is very multicultural.
yeah. I mean, there is
Just-
a lot of, it's predominantly white, I think, but
Okay.
there is a lot of culture in it.
Yeah.
Especially like in the different boroughs of Crawley.
Yeah.
You know, there's different cultures probably in different boroughs, innit? But
Yeah.
so I grew up around loads of culture, innit? And
Yeah.
especially because I'm South African, the culture is very similar to like Zimbabwean
Okay.
because they're close, innit? So it's like the south of Africa, innit?
Yeah.
And my best friend growing up, he was Zimbabwean. So
Okay.
like I practically grew up in a Zimbabwean household. My other best friend was Portuguese and Thai.
Right.
And then my other close friend was Jamaican, innit?
Yeah.
So I was just around all this culture, innit?
Yes, yeah, right.
Like naturally. But I guess there's nice parts of Crawley, there's bad parts of Crawley. And it's a weird one because it's like your question was like, was it rough? It's hard. It's hard because I kind of brought a lot of things onto myself as a child. My parents were together, but then in like year 6, year 7, year 6, which is probably like the worst point for it to happen as a child. Like my parents split up, and then obviously you're going into year 7, you're becoming a teenager. So it's like the worst thing ever.
My parents split up when I was 7, but I don't know what year that, I can't figure out what year that is in school terms.
Okay.
So it's another difficult age for that to happen.
7, I think it's probably like year 4, 5.
God, so that's even younger,
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you can understand, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, the thing is that, like, sometimes I feel like the painful stuff that we go through as kids, we don't even really know it's painful because it's all that we know.
Right. And then, when you get to our age, you're like...
Yeah, you're like, you look back and go, wow, like that's...
Like, that's why I'm like that with people. And that's why I act like this. So they split up, but then, like, around the same time they split up, my mum got breast cancer. So, like, I'll keep it a buck. Probably from, like, year 7 to, like, year 10, my, like, life was just, like, a blur.
Bro, my dad had cancer when I was 7 years old as well.
Right.
I was 7 years old, he had cancer, and then my parents split. I'm just trying, I know, like, it's a bit going a bit back and forth here, but I can really relate to you. And actually, I'm really interested as to how you feel that impacted you.
Right. So...
Because I'm sure these kind of traumatic experiences, they stay with us as adults.
100%.
And a lot of the time, you know, even your earliest parenting and what went down, it really kind of shapes how we feel about ourselves as adults.
100%.
So I'm interested about that, how you feel like it's affected you.
Yeah, so, like year 7 to like year 10 was just all a blur for me. You know, like my mum had a boyfriend quite quickly after the breakup type shit.
Could be quite confusing for a little boy.
Very confusing. Very, very confusing. He had 3 sons, all older than me. So you know what that meant? That was just like getting beaten up.
Yeah.
Shit like that, getting picked on by my stepbrothers.
Yeah.
Which,
did you all live together?
Well, basically his youngest son lived with us.
Okay.
And he was like 16 when he lived with us. So I was probably like 12, 11.
It's a lot going on for you, man.
And then my brother's 2 years above me.
Yeah.
Then man, I just punching me up, doing,
you
know, just brother shit, innit? Yeah. But obviously, you know, they're growing up. He's 16, you know, he's drinking, he's doing drugs, whatever. He's doing some dumb shit. He getting arrested, shit like that.
Yeah.
And then, so all of this shit was going on. And then, you know, when you're young, you're like trying to, I guess, find out who you are.
Yeah.
And then I naturally just gravitated towards culture, innit? Like the man them. And we would just sit outside all the time and, you know, we'd just be on some other shit. And I'm not going to say his name, but he knows who he is. But like, I seen him recently. He's like, he will always be like, I love him like so dearly, man. That's my dog. Out of the 3 I said, innit, he's one of, I'm not going to say which one.
Okay.
But he knows.
You mean out of your brothers?
No, out of my brethrens, innit?
Okay.
Out of my closest friends.
Yeah.
But, you know, I seen him the other day at my closest friend's little sister's birthday. Like, we all like linked back up, and we had this like deep conversation.
What, recently?
Recently, literally like last month. And I just wanted to tell him like all these things I wanted to talk about when we were younger, but we never did.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a traumatic life, but he had a way more traumatic life, like ultra.
And were you there for it, to witness it?
I wasn't there for it, but I definitely grew up with him, innit?
Okay, so and then you kind of went your separate ways for a little while.
Well, no. Just literally like when I moved to London.
Okay.
Yeah. So so basically, mine and his relationship, we've been like best friends since year 7.
Okay.
But obviously we grew up together, innit? But he was like, in like year 8, like year 11s, year 12s, and that were like giving him respect, and he was, you know,
Okay.
doing some street shit.
Well, you must have been to have
Yeah,
respect from the older
And
lot.
but our relationship was weird. It was like this, like little bro, big bro. He would be like vulnerable around me, and I would be vulnerable around him. Like we'd talk about feelings and that, but then like I would see him punch somebody up, or like I would see him like sell
Yeah.
coke.
Yeah.
like I was kind of, you know, I was crying when I was talking to him, and I was just like, it was just deep in it. Like I was just saying, because basically so my closest friend Shumba, he's a Zimbabwean guy. I grew up with his family, but he kind of, my whole life I was like, you know, his parents were together when we were kids, and like he had a nicer house and he was a baller, and like I was like, oh, he's got a perfect life, and I was around him a lot. But then when I was around my other guy, you know, we had less and he had less than me, but like it was just like he showed me the dark side of life, and unintentionally in it, because that was just his reality. And you know, when I was young, I was around him all the time, and it was like when I got older, I was like, we shouldn't have been around those things young. But then now I'm old, I'm like, I owe him so much, because that's what real life is.
Yes.
You know, this perfect life and all that. That's not the reality of life. There's, you know, there's the yin and the yang, innit?
Of course.
So I'll always love him, innit? Like, he will always have a place in my heart, because he showed me that side of life. And to him, it was just his reality. But to me, it was like, it wasn't mine, innit?
I mean, I look back on my hardest times, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm actually really grateful for them, because I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Same.
And also, you know, even our interests and the things that, you know, like street culture and music and fashion, I don't think we'd have the same interests had we grown up in a different environment. Can you take me back to your darkest time?
Yeah, man, I think...
do you have an experience, a specific experience that you think really shaped you?
Yeah, I think, you know, when there was like loads of shit when I was like young, 13, 14, there was just like a whole bunch of shit I probably shouldn't have been around or seen at that age. And I think the hardest thing, it's tough at that age, because like these are your people, innit? And like when you're that young, like I said, you're suffocated, innit? You think like there's no more than this area or these people, when really like you're this age and you're like, who even are those people now, right?
Yeah.
But I think there was loads of points in my younger life, but I think the worst point of my life when I was 17. So when I was like 17, my granddad just died, and like I was in college. But there's so much like leading up to this, because, you know, I got arrested when I was like 13, 14. I was just on I never sold drugs, but I was around drug dealers, and I was just doing illegitimate things at a young age, like just dumb, bad shit, right? But I never wanted to sell drugs, because that whole mindset of like my area, there was a lot of beef going on, and I was shook, innit? Like, like honestly, I would just I didn't want to get hurt, innit? So I didn't want to sell drugs, but I would do other things. So this was all going on, but it's weird, because I always say this, because I love my blood brother, my only brother. I love him so much, but our relationship's always been very weird, because we grew up in the same house, but we lived two different lives. Like my brother like played rugby and like was at the nicer side of Crawley, and I was on the other side of Crawley.
Which kind of shapes you differently.
But then I would have to come home and listen to him be like, why are you talking like that, and all this shit, and da-da-da-da-da. When really this is who I was, and that's who he was. But I think, you know, I was more in touch. He's like my dad, innit? Like I'm in touch with my emotions because of my mum. He's like my dad and just doesn't talk about anything. So we never really we didn't have a great relationship. But fuck, what was I saying?
You're the hardest times.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The darkest time.
So this was all going on, and
because you talk about your mental health a
Right.
lot as well on social media, and how
Right,
you've
right.
been through some pretty suicidal,
yeah. So
which I can also relate to.
Right.
I've had my own journey with
yeah,
that.
yeah. So this all kind of was bubbling up, you know, troubled kid, whatever. Just scraped GCSEs. I just got into the college. My dad moved to the area. Cool. Got into the college. I'm in the college now. I'm 17. Now I'm bunning loud. I'm drinking too much. Yeah. I was about to say something super crazy then.
Please do.
No, because that is incriminating.
Okay.
We were just doing bad stuff.
Okay.
Then I was like never going to college. I was just telling everybody to come to my yard. I'd come to my yard, whatever, parties, you know, just lost my virginity, all this type of shit, right? I'm becoming a man.
Yeah.
Which is the
this
hardest.
This is at like 17, right?
But I think becoming the man, 17, 18, 19, that's the hardest. That's the hardest point in any man's life, because there's so much like emotions. You don't know how to deal with it. So this is all happening, and then
I just smoked lots of weed.
Right.
I mean, I guess without knowing that that's kind of what I was doing.
Right.
To cope with the feelings.
Right.
And the trauma, you know.
And like not sleeping and like
just
doing a whole bunch of other shit. Right.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know. I think I got kicked out of college. Just wasn't going. And my granddad died, and he was like my biggest creative inspiration because he was a photographer.
Okay.
He used to teach me about movies, film, art, photography.
So you were close.
We were close. And I'm pretty sure he had like ADHD, ADD, all the shit that I'm diagnosed with ADD. We never did the ADHD because my mum was just like, you defo have it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have the attention span to get through the test.
Right. That's probably me.
I've tried meds for ADHD, but it was like cocaine in a pill.
Right.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, was for me, but really wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean?
So that was all going on. Then 17, I'm sure it was 17 or 16. I'm pretty sure it was 17. It was my nana's birthday, and I remember this because somebody told me to scout for modeling, to go to modeling agencies or whatever. So I went with my brethren, and it was like the last money I had. We bumped the train to London. We went to like 3 or 4 agencies, walked in. They all said no. And then I remember I went back to my dad's house, and I think I had a free house for like 2 weeks. This is like probably on the second week of like me having house parties and shit like that, which I don't think he ever knew that I did. And I just remember like being in the kitchen, and I was going to my mum's house because she ended up moving to the countryside because she got evicted from her house in the ends or all this shit. There's a lot to my story, innit?
No, I'm here for it, man.
But then I remember I was meant to go to a meal for my nana's birthday, but I just remember like being in the kitchen in my dad's house, and I was like, that was the darkest point in my life because I was really...
When you got the phone call?
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was like all of these things happened up until that point. And then I was just like, my life is done, innit? Like I was really...
But with the news that your granddad had passed...
Oh no, so I want to know
the right moment, the exact moment where... What happened in that moment?
When he passed?
No, like when you were saying you were in the kitchen.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you suddenly
no,
realised... Sorry, I just really want to understand this bit.
Sorry. So all these things were happening, obviously, like when I was 17.
Lifestyle and what you were on,
And then, you know, I left college, didn't have a job, anything like this. So all these emotions were just... This shit when I was younger was just... And I was just like... I just don't want this to carry on, innit? And I just remember sitting in the kitchen on the floor for like probably like an hour, 2 hours. I was just blanking all calls, whatever. And I don't know what happened in my head, because I was actually like fully ready to kill myself. Like, like I know it sounds mad, but no, I can like openly speak about it.
Yeah, of course.
But I just remember like just thinking like, this is it. But then something so small in my head was just like, you could do that, but like you haven't done anything with your life.
So there was a little spark just still
but
there.
the spark was
like-
almost like a bit like you're a bit like embarrassing, like to do that. Something in my head was kind of like,
Yeah.
like violating me, like, oh, you're a bit
Yeah.
embarrassing,
But
like,
ironically saved you.
right.
Yeah.
So I just like kind of just snapped out of it a bit,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I haven't done anything in my life, so at least let me try to do something in my life, and then maybe I can come back here. And,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember I just like, it was so fucked in those situations because like I just had to get up off the floor and then had to just
Yeah.
go to my mum's and go to a dinner and pretend like nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
And I never
yeah.
told anybody about it.
Yeah.
And I don't even think anybody knew about it until I started talking about it on podcasts.
Yeah. Does that feel to you like an isolated event, or does this something
Yeah.
that can come back for you, do you think? Because you
Yeah.
seem to me like you seem like quite a happy person, and you know, right now.
Yeah, I mean,
But for me, it
Yeah.
hasn't just been one moment, you know, like for me, it's something that I've had to, you know, like manage, and like exercise has been a huge thing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me for my mental health. Like I almost feel like I'm living in a different dimension once I like committed to like a healthy diet and gym and stuff like that, and then having purpose, I think. But I feel that like depression and that kind of mental state is always sort of waiting for me. That's just personally for me, that I have to kind of do a lot to keep it at bay. But how's your mental health, you know, nowadays? Do you still struggle with that kind of stuff, or are you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, man. I think,
because sometimes even if things are going well, I have this thing where like externally everything can be going great, and sometimes I think like, oh, like when I get that job, when I have that amount of money, when I'm going out with that girl, like when I've got all my ducks in a row, like I'm gonna feel great. And it doesn't always do what I think it's gonna do, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can feel that sadness still.
yeah, I think,
What's that like for you nowadays?
yeah, it's hard, innit? I think like if you suffer with mental health, I feel like you suffer with it forever,
Yes, I agree.
because
I agree.
I suffered with it since I was a kid, innit?
Yeah.
My whole life. So it's tough, yeah, because I'm happy like majority of the time, but then like a lot of other shit has happened in my life after I was 17, innit? You know, like my friend got killed. That was like fucking even worse, because that shouldn't be happening at fucking 20 years old.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, so shit like that. So it's like, I am a happy person, but I have demons in it.
Yeah.
And it's tough, yeah. I'll tell you 2 stories that happened recently. Basically, I'm just thinking like how to say all these things. So basically, the last time I cried, but I'm going to tell you about the last time I cried before that. So the last time I cried before that, I think was it like the start of the year or something? I don't know when it was either this year or the end of last year. But I was having an argument with, she's gonna hate that. Nah. I was having an argument with somebody. I was having a conversation with somebody.
Okay.
And it was so weird because, you know how you said right at the start, your work ethic and all this, she said something about, she said something she didn't mean, but basically online she thinks I'm like being somebody else because of how honest I am online and how like, you know, grind, whatever, right? But I started crying. It like triggered like this, like I couldn't even breathe. It was like super crazy.
What was said that made you?
It wasn't even what they said, but it was like when I could finally speak after I was crying.
Yeah.
I was basically saying like, people don't know what I've had to go through to be this
Bruv.
mentally strong, or like to grind this hard. Like it was like I was almost like disgusted in myself because of how it's so weird. Like I don't know how to explain it. I was almost so disgusted at how hard, like how much of like, I don't know how to explain it. But like I was just so sad because I've been through so much that I've now built like a really strong mentality from it.
I think that's something to be proud of.
I know.
There's something that you've said.
So weird.
This is what I've been thinking. So my relationship with social media is like back in the day when I was like doing a lot of drugs, I was making music, and I would tell social media exactly how I felt on that day. Good, bad, anxiety, whatever. Now I do less of that. And I kind of, at the moment, sort of use social media just to promote my work and stuff like that. And I give a bit of myself on there. But like, I was thinking if anyone had any idea the amount of work I have to do backstage to like, because I think most people see me as quite a happy-go-lucky, smiley person. And but the sadness that is there inside me and the amount of work I have to do to keep that at bay, like I'm saying, is I think you said something really similar to that. I've felt that with the demons that I have, I am pretty like nowadays quite happy most of the time, but I've had to go through some really hard times to get there.
Right.
And I don't think like people on social media, if I'm looking like, oh, he's doing his podcast, oh, he's over there, he's DJing here, he's modeling there, but it's like, you've got no idea what it takes to just be that smiley person. It doesn't come natural to me.
And that's
you know,
I don't know why it triggered me so much, but it was almost like I was disgusted.
So were you being kind of criticized for not being yourself online? Is that what it is?
No.
In the way that this person knows you?
Yeah.
She was saying there's a different... Sorry, I mean, you brought it up. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. We can move on if you like.
It was less about what they said. It was just more about, like, I was so upset at how, like...
Did you feel misunderstood?
No.
You felt understood?
No. It was nothing about what they said.
Okay,
It was about me. It was about, like, I just was so upset because, you know, like you said, like, people just think the shit just rainbows and daisies, but, like, I really had to fucking, like, I really had to do this shit on my own.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So that shit, like, really just, it was nothing what they said. It was just triggering for me because I was just, like, I needed to release, innit?
Yeah.
But then recently, I hadn't cried for time, and then I fucking spoke to my mum, and obviously I don't live at home, innit? And basically, I mean, I've said it on podcasts before, my nana's had cancer like loads of times, but now she's got the worst cancer, and you know, she got a time, whatever. And I spoke to my mum the other day, and it was like, it was less about like what was happening. It was just like, I was just bare crying, and it was more about like, I can't be there, innit? Because like, I'm just grinding. But then my mum was like, what are you going to do? You're going to come home and then what? You're just going to watch it all happen. You're just going to watch us be sad, whatever. But it was just tough for me because like, this is what I'm saying. People see who I am. The voice of the streets, whatever, but they don't see like that side, innit?
And maybe they shouldn't. I haven't quite figured that out yet.
I mean,
because there's a life to be lived, and then
there is a life to be lived, but there's also, you know, I believe there's so much, teaching in people's truth, innit?
Yes.
You know, like when I talk these stories and stuff, people can relate, like yourself.
Yes, no.
So if you can relate, there's somebody else that can relate.
No, for sure.
So I'm okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
And to, you know, my truth can help somebody else. But one thing that you said, my mum said the same thing, because my mum has her own demons or whatever, but she said to me on the phone when we spoke that day, she was like, we have demons in it, but like, they can help us in it. Like
Yeah.
our demons make us who we are, innit?
Yeah.
And I think without me knowing, that's probably what I was telling myself at 17.
Yes.
But I always just tell people, like, obviously, if you have demons or whatever, like, it can be a blessing, innit?
I think the hard times are like so important, you know, like I kind of have this belief that like everyone needs to sort of get knocked about a bit in different ways.
And you
Like
can really
I
tell,
feel like
though, innit?
everyone needs to get their heart broken. Have you ever been heartbroken?
Of course.
Do you know that pain?
Of course.
Oh my God. Mine was in 2017
Oh, okay.
and it was like,
Mine was 2018.
I mean, I'm talking about can't eat,
Yeah,
like losing weight,
I feel
like,
you,
you know,
Yeah,
and, you know, I just think for me, that's a good example because I'm so grateful for that experience because it's just,
But then at the time, you feel like
at the
it's
time
like
I wanted
worst
to
thing.
die.
Yeah.
But like, I feel that if you've just had an easy life, I don't think life is easy actually for anyone, you know, but like I was dating this girl once and she kind of came from like, she had a really sort of sheltered background, like kind of, you know, like, and she was lovely. And some of her friends who were males, they had this kind of like,
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
they kind of had this naivety about them. It was a kind of arrogance, but a sort of misinformed arrogance. And I could just tell, and I was like, I can just tell no one's punched you in the face before.
Yeah, bro.
And and I just think that in order to really become who you really are and find your truth is that your identity from when you're young needs to get knocked a little bit. So I could tell that who that guy thinks he is, that has never been challenged like ever before. Do I make sense here?
Story of my life, bro.
And I think that, I mean, I knew just based on what you're doing and how you're going out and getting it for yourself that like, you know, and I can relate to the same drive. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I am grateful for the hard times and there will be more to come.
Yeah.
There will be. But it shapes you as a person.
Yeah. Two things. You know, one great example of what you were saying is like I said, Crawley and Horsham, different, innit? So Crawley, I remember when we went to the college in Horsham, like all the girls like gravitated towards us because like we were different, innit? And like they never been around Crawley boys because like they knew not to go to Crawley.
Okay, right.
But then all the Horsham boys didn't like us because these men were all like privileged white boys, come from money, whatever.
Yeah.
But same shit. That was a lot because, you know, there was just a lot of shit that happened around that age because even just the way that they used to speak to girls and that.
Yeah.
Like,
You were just like,
mad.
come on, man.
Like, bro, like.
It's no game. Like,
well, not even no. I mean, like, in a
mean?
disrespectful way. Like, they would just have no respect for women. They'd have no respect for anyone.
Yes, I know. I know what you mean.
You know,
I've met the type. I know what you mean.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so fuck anybody's privilege because, suck your mums. Anyway, but I think finding the good in the bad things in your life, that's really a maturity thing.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I used to be the victim of everything. I'll be like, the world hates me, this didn't happen for me. But then as I got older, I was like, you know what? I can take a lesson from all the shit that happens, right? Like you got heartbroken, you can learn from that. Oh, I don't want to be with that type of girl again. Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like nowadays, I suffer with mental health problems, but you know, I find the beauty in life a lot better now as I'm older.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at like if something bad happens in my life, God is just writing like a chapter in my book, innit?
Yeah.
So when he gives it to me, like, yo, you remember this? You know what I'm saying? So
I'm getting used to, I've been doing therapy for like a good couple of months now. No, more than that, almost a year.
So I really need to go to therapy.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just being encouraged for me to sit with the darkness, to sit with those feelings that I don't want to have. because I'm also in recovery from drugs and
Right,
alcohol. So that's
okay.
like a massive part of my story,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
substance abuse.
Okay.
And what is amazing to me is that once you put down the drugs and the alcohol, you kind of think, oh, maybe I'll just be able to go on my merry way then,
But
problem
that's when
removed.
everything
But
hits
everything that I've been medicating and all these feelings that I've been suppressing with drugs and alcohol suddenly come up to the surface, and it's like, holy fuck.
you know? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's interesting.
I'm getting used to now sitting with uncomfortable feelings in a way that I would usually just take something to change how I feel and not deal with it. And it's fucking hard, but
Yeah.
I have had now moments where I've like, if you sit with that darkness and that bleakness, that like you then get to the light. And if you don't kind of like go get off your nut or take drugs to sort of change how you feel, then like if you embrace the darkness, more of you turns on. You start like knowing yourself better. You start feeling stronger.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hard.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's interesting you say that because, like, I don't really drink anymore, like, because it makes me really anxious, and I don't like that.
Did you ever have
feeling.
a problem with drugs or alcohol?
Nah, not really. I think when I was like 17, obviously I was experimenting,
Yeah,
but like,
as we all do.
right, but I never. It's mad because I never got into hard drugs because I saw the other side of it. You know, like I was around
Yeah.
trappers and that. So like
Yeah,
I was seeing like the other side of it, and like no disrespect at all,
no, go.
but you know, like kind of just like I would see people like it was just like yeah, man, it was just not good
Well,
to see that other side of it.
Yeah,
And
of
it
course.
wasn't like I was judging the people,
Yeah,
but it was like I don't want to be that person.
yeah, no, of course.
Like I don't want to depend on shit.
Yeah. For me, the addiction kind of crept up on me slowly.
Right.
Like it just started with like
But that's what
smoking weed
happens
and
though, innit?
drinking. And then I had sort of lines that I thought I wouldn't cross, and I had a lot of yets. Do you know what I mean? And then it just, for me, with drugs and alcohol, if you know you feel like you're an addict, it just gets worse. It never
Right,
gets
right,
better.
right.
And so now I'm 7 months clean and sober. Which
Congratulations, bro.
thank you,
That's
man.
massive,
Thank
bro.
you.
That's
It's
sick,
not
man.
easy.
No, yeah, I
Um,
bet.
But you know, stuff like I wouldn't be sat here with you
Right,
having
right,
this
right, right.
discussion. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no.
be doing this, that, and a third if it wasn't, you know. And then now I'm just
course.
kind of feeling like
And
I've got,
it is sad though because a lot of people's lives get ruined from it,
of course,
and it is sad because
yeah.
yeah,
And life's tough.
life is
so
tough.
in a way,
and a lot
like
of the time, people like you said, they're kind of masking something in it,
yeah,
which is sad. And the thing is, when I was younger, a lot of people who I would see do those things when I was younger, I definitely judged them. Now I don't because
yeah,
the thing is now I understand why they were doing those things.
yeah.
So it's interesting when you get older, but it's interesting that you say that because like when I stopped smoking weed and doing all that shit and I don't really drink, I've had to like raw dog my emotions. Like
This is what I
for the-
mean. Yeah.
so I think when I
yeah.
moved to London, it was like fully like just raw dogging my emotion. So it's weird because a lot of the time I'm like, I have these demons, but I don't feel touch wood. I don't feel sad a lot of the time, but
That's
I might get
great.
triggered and then I'm like really sad.
Do you think that's got a lot to do with how well work's going for you at the moment? And
Maybe.
the things that you're doing, because I think purpose is just incredibly important.
Yeah.
Like you need a reason to wake up in the morning.
So yeah,
You know, and if you can go to sleep looking forward to the next day,
Well, this is the thing.
almost like you're a kid again.
Yeah,
which I
this-
imagine you may kind of feel, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've got. It feels like there's always stuff for you to be looking forward to. You're always doing the
Yeah.
next thing.
I think, you know, I wanted to be a rapper in it, and then when that stopped, you know, blah 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 blah, and then I started doing this shit, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the best presenter in the world, and then like as time went on, I was like, you know what? Because you said like when you don't have anything to run to, you have to be in touch with your emotions. So then I just became me for once in my life. You know, I grew my hair. I just spoke how I spoke. I'm around, you know, there's loads of different types of people I'm around in London or whatever, but I'm just me in it. And
Yeah.
like, I go online, I talk about this and that, and people try chat shit or whatever, but I'm me. So when you're yourself and you're 100% honest in yourself, what can people say about me? Because I would have said it already.
Yeah.
So like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like I know I'm me at the end of
Yeah.
the day. So I think really my purpose now is to just inspire others. and just be the best version of myself, but also whether that's like product, I want to get into product, and you know, whether that's a video, whether that's building something for other people, opportunities, or like I love doing community-based stuff, and I feel like that's my purpose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, my whole life I didn't know what my purpose was.
I think you found it in
Now
good time at 26. It's a beautiful thing. I wanted to ask you, actually, I'm sure this is a question you've answered many times before, but for the people at home, how would you describe what you do now?
No one really asked me that yet.
No? Because I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this, some of them may already be familiar with what you do. But for the people that don't know, how would you just, because I think you've invented your own job role.
Yeah.
I really do.
So I like to say I document culture.
Right.
Whether that's music, fashion, streetwear, whatever. I think people tried to group me into this content creator bullshit, but the thing is, like, name me another content creator that has done what I've done in this time that I've done, the brands I've worked with, the things I've announced, the things I've come up with, like built, the concepts I've built, there's never been me.
I agree.
And I think globally there's never been me.
Yeah.
And again, that wasn't part of my plan. So I think God has a plan for me, innit? I'm just living it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. Was there a period when you stopped rapping and you stopped modeling before you started rocking up to events just with a microphone and started interviewing people? Did you have a period of time where you didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah, 100%.
Because if that were me, that would be the time where I would be in danger with drugs and alcohol 100%. And stuff like that. You know, that kind of lack of direction. And how long was that period of time?
Right. So my friend got killed in 2019. And December 2019. 2020, I met my girlfriend who lives in London. So I was kind of slowly going to London, back and forth. But my dad moved to Scotland. So then I had to move in with my mum in the countryside. So there was a lot of shit that happened after my brethren got killed. Rest in peace, Swell, you already know. But so I was like naturally separating myself from the people I hanged around with. And I didn't really want to be around my ends anyway, because after he got killed, I just didn't really, Anyway.
No, I could understand that.
So I was like at my mum's in the countryside, like modeling was slow.
Not rapping anymore.
Not rapping really? Because I fell out of love with it. I can't be asked to get into it today, but I have spoken about it before. But basically, long story short, after he died, there was a lot of things surrounding it, and it just made me hate music, basically. So then, like, for like a year, I didn't really know what I was doing. COVID happened. I was going back and forth to London, kind of modeling. And then 2022, start 2022, I was like, I'm not making music anymore. I like shoes. I always loved sneakers. Let me just make a sneaker show, innit? Like, I can film it from my mum's house and do it on Zoom, innit? So that's what I did. I just turned the corner of my room at my mum's. I worked in a bakery warehouse at the end of her road. And that's what I did, innit? I just made a show. I did 15 episodes, 15 strangers. Okay, brought them on, a couple good people. Javel Berlin, my guy, you already know. Tobias as well. There was loads of people. That kind of brought me into the sneaker industry. And then with that, I ended up finessing a job as a sneaker authenticator in London. And then November 2021. Sorry, this is all 2021. November 2021, I moved to London. I lived at my girlfriend's house out of a suitcase for 6 months. And then I found a room, and I'm still in that room now. Moved into that room with like 7 pairs of shoes, 1 suitcase.
How many pairs of shoes do you have now?
Like way more than that.
And how many of them were sent to you?
Yeah, a lot. So
that's one thing. The wardrobe's got bigger.
The wardrobe's definitely bigger. So yeah, that happened, and then I was working a sneaker authenticator job. until.
What's a sneaker authenticator job?
So I worked for a platform. I'm not going to say them because fuck them. Fuck everybody at that platform. Also, fuck that platform. And yeah, man. Fuck you.
You're the first guest who's been acknowledging the cameras.
don't
I
worry,
actually
I'm
forget. I ought to address the people more often.
Yeah. So I worked for a platform. People would sell on the platform. The shoes would come to us. We would authenticate the shoes, make sure they're real, and then send them to them. We're the middleman.
Got ya.
It was fun though. I learned a lot about shoes. I learned so much about product components of a shoe. So there's no reason why I couldn't be a sneaker designer, which I am gonna be.
Just to make that clear.
Yeah. Don't make me pull up a reference right now. Anyway, so yeah, it was great. I learned a lot, and I met my three closest friends, sorry, in London now. Shout out Steph, Trish, Jamil, my peoples, my best friends. And so then, yeah, I was working there, and then I randomly did some on-street stuff at the start of 2022, and it went viral.
I was going to ask you, was there a particular video or a particular moment where you thought, hang on a minute.
Yeah, so that went...
I might be onto something here.
So I did a job with Coated, a platform, and we just randomly covered this pop-up that was just there in Soho, and the kid was wearing fake Bapesters.
Right.
And, like, it just did, like, 700K, like, within, like, probably, like, a month.
Poor kid, though. Was everyone laughing at his fake Bapesters?
Well, yeah, but... He was like, I was like, they're fucking, he had college dropout Bapesters, and I was like, these are fucking crazy. He's like, they're fake. And I was like, fairs. Like, everybody was bigging him up.
Okay, good. But
then I was like, cool, maybe I could do this. And then naturally that year, I just gradually did on street stuff. And then in April 2023, I got fired from my job because I worked with a competitor platform doing social work. And then... well, the start of that year, I started covering the streetwear shit, the Cortez Nike stuff. And then I got fired in April. I had 2 months rent from my last paycheck, and then just dive straight into it. And then I've been freelance ever since.
And did you kind of notice that you'd be at events and go, no one's really documenting this, or no one's documenting this in a way that I feel like I can?
Well, no one was really documenting it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, everyone had their iPhones and stuff like that.
But no one was talking or had energy, really. Everybody's quite shy with it. So I was like, you know what, I was way worse then. I had a January, February, March, April. May last year, I had a vocal injury because of how hard I was working. I fucked my vocal cord up.
Wow.
So I had a cyst on my vocal cord. So before May last year, I was screaming all the time on videos.
FD from the you-know.
Well, it was before I even had that tagline, so I was just shouting and shit.
Where did that tagline come from? Did that just
emerge
naturally?
I just couldn't be asked to keep saying the FD from the future.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you already know who it is, my FD from the you-know.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because, like, you lot really think you're funny. Like, people really comment, like, oh, I don't know who he is. But that's the fun of it.
Yeah,
because you will know who I am. Yeah. So, like, really, you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. But sort of anyone who's anyone has come out of nowhere at some point.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like...
you lot are broke anyway, like, carpet peeling.
But I love the FD from the you-know. I think it sounds...
FD from the you-know hard, bro.
Yeah, it's hard.
Uno cards. I want to collab. Shout out Ash for that one.
Have you got... Tell me some of your favourite interviews that you've done. Like top 3.
I think Central C, of course.
In Paris. Yeah.
In Paris. Shout out Sench, my guy. That was brilliant. Changed my life, honestly.
Was that planned, or did you just rock up?
Wasn't planned at all.
See, this is the thing about turning up.
Right. This is the thing about turning up.
Waking up, putting your shoes on, get out the house.
Hey, water break.
And do stuff. So that was unplanned.
So, 2023, I was covering all of the Cineworld pop-ups, his brand. And I remember...
Again, unofficially, just rocking up and just doing what you do.
Unofficially. So it was actually amazing.
It's just really guerrilla tactics, man.
Of course. Being outside, bro.
Yes. Voice of the streets.
Voice of the streets.
Yes.
you know, they label me that for a reason. I never said it. They label me that, so I'm living up to it. But can you lot still hear me? Yeah, I don't know if they.
No, we're good.
They're good. Yeah,
Sure, we're
I
good.
keep moving the mic. So, I have to say this because it will make sense. April last year, I got fired. May last year, I did the Nines interview. Then I covered the Cineworld pop-up, his first ever one. But then he reshared it. And I remember it was such a funny moment. And Sench, if you're listening, please don't judge me. I remember... No, I've never said this like out loud. Only the man them know about this, so it's quite funny. But fuck it, if it happened to you, you'd feel the same. I did a Cineworld car boot sale in May last year. And I leave the event at maybe like I leave the event at like 2 o'clock. And then I edit the video. I was in Triss's car. We drove to my brethren's yard, Jamil. Went to Jamil's yard in West. So it was like round the corner from Battersea. I edit the video in the car, nearly done. We go munch food at like, I think the timeline of it is wrong. Anyway, I edited the video within like 2 hours. I had the video out by 6 p.m. And I remember we finished eating we was in Grove. We finished eating in Grove and we walked to get ice cream. I post the video, we walked to get ice cream, and then we're walking back to Triss's car. As we're walking, it's like 6:11 and Sench reposts the video. Bro, I remember I was jumping up and down in the middle of Grove.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I was there shouting, oh my fucking God, I'm clear.
Yeah, it's gone clear.
And I remember within like 6 hours, it was on 1 million views. And I was just like, shit.
So that would have been one of the moments I was asking for, which was like, I might be onto something.
Yeah,
here.
and then literally a week later, Sloan asked me to create an advert for Bobo's, which is the cafe that he opened.
It's amazing how one thing leads to another as well. And I actually think you are the snowball effect currently.
So everyone was like, oh, you're so lucky. But I was like, you can't be lucky 3 times.
Yeah. Of course.
So then I did the Bobo advert in May, end of May last year. And then just nothing was the same from there. But so sorry. Sench, it wasn't planned because I was just covering all the Cineworld stuff. We spoke a couple times in DMs.
So you kind of had a rapport by then.
Kind of had a rapport. He knew my work.
Yeah.
A lot of people around him, you know, at the pop-ups and at his team and that, they were always happy for me to be there. Every time I would post a Cineworld video, he'd repost it. Like, it was just like amazing. End of last year, he followed me on TikTok and we spoke briefly. And then this year we spoke again on DM on Insta. And then we had a couple ideas. Nothing's happened yet. And then I go cover the Cineworld pop-up in Paris. And his team are like to me, Sencha's coming by and he's filming a music video, which is moi.
Okay.
So you know how they have all the chrome cars? And that? So if you see in the interview, there's like 3 chrome cars behind us.
Okay.
So he was...
in Paris.
In Paris.
Yes, yeah.
So he was filming that. And I remember I said to them, ask him if he would be down for an interview. But on their group chat, she showed me, they never said yes, they never said no.
Okay.
So when he pulled up, he like spotted me or whatever, went inside, had a look, and then came outside. He was like, what do you want to do? So I said, let's do a quick fire thing. He was like, all right, cool. But he's so like smart, like he had the DS in his hand and, you know, like he's wearing all this unreleased shit. And then we do the interview. And then I remember I posted at 6 p.m. again. I was in Paris, first day in Paris for Fashion Week. He reposted that video. And I remember I went to bed, it was on like 90K on TikTok. Bro, I woke up, that shit was on like 2 mil. And I was like, this shit is insane.
Yeah.
And it got reposted everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to say the Sench interview. I want to say this is super left field because people will not really, it got overlooked, but Don C.
Okay.
When
Don
I-
C.
yeah.
Who's Don C? Am I being thick here?
Just on.
Just on.
He was Kanye's manager.
Okay, right.
He was around all the Virgil, all of them.
Okay. And most famously known to be Kanye West's manager.
Well, he was like a big pillar in street fashion, really. Like,
okay. I'm sure I would recognize him if I saw
He's done a lot of
photo him.
product. He was Kanye's manager. Rolled around with Virgil.
Yeah.
He was like the mastermind behind a lot of these.
Okay.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of, especially Kanye's career. A lot of things in
Yeah.
Kanye's career. But yeah, no one really cared about that interview. But I loved it.
Where did you meet him?
The Amiri show in Paris in January.
Okay. I mean, for what you're doing, it's definitely worth rocking up to Fashion Week wherever it is, right?
100%.
Whether it's in Paris or London.
100%.
I mean, that's
100%.
yeah.
But that was cool. Who else have I interviewed? AJ Tracy.
Okay.
I grew up loving AJ.
Okay.
And then when I met him loads of times. Me and him are cool now.
Yeah.
So shout out AJ.
But you must have made a lot of friends. You must
Yeah,
be
of
making a lot
course.
of friends along the way as well,
Of
which
course.
is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is, man. It's
Yeah.
it's
What
great.
about the Skep interview?
Skepta interview was amazing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that video I posted of like I was like 12 and me and my guy, shout out Dowda, man, shout out DB.
What guy listening to was it That's Not
I
Me?
was I was rapping, we were freestyling.
Yeah.
And there's a video of me, I got long hair wearing a blue ink polo. He's there in the back wearing a V-neck fucking knitwear.
Yeah.
And we're like in my dad's office
Mm-hmm.
and we're freestyling, but I'm spitting, what do I say? I say, Skepta, boy better no director. I'm on this thing like Skepta. And then I was like flipping like a chicken wing in KFC or something like that. But then obviously I fast forward and I interviewed Skepta for Puma when he dropped the scope.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. A bit annoying because it was mainly a Puma interview, but still a moment. Again, his team, they're comfortable with me being around or whatever. So that was great. I feel like I've done so many. I forget about Kaylani, Larry June. That was amazing. Even Clint, big up Clint. It's my guy. I've known Clint since like 2016. So it was a really cool moment because on the video, like he's like, oh, I knew Fabs when he rapped and all this. And like, it was just a cool
Is that
moment.
for the Cortez Supreme?
That was the Cortez Supreme,
thing,
yeah. But even that Cortez Supreme, that wasn't planned when I had leaked that. But I think after the leak, like that was December last year. But after that leak, like my career has never, like it hasn't, like it's never been the same from there. Like it's just shit changed my life.
It's something really special to watch when you're watching someone, and I feel the same way about the Corrupt FM boys who I've had on the show, where they just kind of started filming stuff with their boys, and suddenly it takes off. Is that like you can see someone responding to opportunities and a situation in real time. So do you know what I mean? The kind of the non-strategic element of it becomes a really exciting thing to watch because it's like you're just like, go, it's just getting better and better for this guy. You know,
sometimes you can't. That's the art of it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm the king. I'm the king of spontaneity. Yeah, like I'm the king of it.
Have you had people decline interviews?
All the time.
Really?
All the fucking time.
Really?
All the time. All the fucking time.
Yeah.
All the time, bro.
For me, that would be a little bit like asking a girl out. It's kind of like...
It is,
I'd
it's
go
fucking
into
painful.
a little bit of shame. I'm like, oh, man, you know, the rejection.
And,
but I guess you...
I got to shout out Will for this one because, you know, he's taught me a lot, man. You know, he's been my biggest inspiration, I think, for the past couple of years. But
Is that your boy?
No, my manager Will.
Oh, your manager Will. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he is my boy, innit? But,
yeah.
He's more like my dad, bro. I when I introduce him, I'm like, yo, this is my dad, bro.
Okay.
But he taught me, like, because I would be like, I would go online and be like, yo, fuck this artist or fuck them, because I don't want to do an interview. But he was like, you need to look here like they're gonna beg you one day for that interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say no to me. A lot of the time.
Have you ever had interviews that haven't gone quite as well as you'd hoped?
Yeah, man. 100%.
Do you know a question I really like asking my guests is, have you ever embarrassed yourself in front of someone you admire?
Yeah, man, nines,
okay. Because I think it's a really human question.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of things that people don't get to see. But I think everyone has embarrassed themselves in their life. Do you know what I mean?
It's a shame because it was very early in my career of what I do. But when I did the Nines interview, I was with my guy Morgan Keys.
Yeah.
You know who Morgan Keys is, real legend. Shout out Morgan, love you, bro. And I went to Nines' like meetup thing, and I watched him say no to like 3 other interviews. Yeah,
Kind of
and
in front whilst you're in the room.
yeah,
whilst
no,
you're
I
there?
just played the corner and I
Okay.
was with Morgan and all like Nines' people,
Yeah.
and I was just watching because he was doing meet and greets. I was just watching him just like say no to all these interviews or whatever. Wait, let me just sort my hair.
Yeah. Do you think,
And
man? Do you think?
I was just playing the corner, playing the field, watching, and I had this amazing interview plan because he's like him and Potter are him and Potter are my favorite rappers in the UK.
Potter's incredible.
Potter's
Like,
incredible.
Yeah.
And
Have you met Potter? Have you interviewed Potter?
I've met Potter.
That's coming.
I've interviewed him
You have?
briefly, but it was for like a football match that he was doing. We were
Okay.
meant to run something later that day, but it got a bit hectic, so he had to leave. But we'll run it up.
Yeah.
Potter, you're my favorite.
That will happen.
Potter, you're the GOAT. Nines, you're the GOAT. Skep, you're the GOAT.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had this amazing interview planned, and like I said, it was very early in my career. I was new to interviewing artists, whatever. And then, bro, my hair keeps fucking up.
It's all good, man. So does my. This is why I have my hair so short.
Yeah, man. I
FD.
used to have short hair.
So
like
it's
you.
just like zero maintenance for me
Todd.
going on.
Anyway, so I had this whole amazing thing planned, and he had like 100 man with him. So I was like, fuck. Anyway, I've gone over to him with Morgan, and I was like, are you cool to do an interview? And he was like, you know what? Because Morgan's family, I'll do it. So we do the interview, and I'm about to begin, but the first thing he says to me is like, wait, what are you going to ask me? And my mind just went, phew. I just forgot everything. So then I just had to kind of like come up on the spot. Now I'm like amazing at doing that. Then I was really shit. And like, he was just not trying to do interviews. Like, you can tell, like, he was just like the answers he was giving me and that. I love Nines. And it changed my life, that interview, but it just wasn't, it was a really not good interview. And I felt like I embarrassed myself. But other than that, I don't think I've ever really embarrassed myself in front of somebody. Other than that.
How do you prepare for your interviews, and has it changed now that you feel more at ease with it? Do you prepare less, and how do you prepare for these interviews?
I just do my research, obviously.
Yeah.
I think obviously my main concept people see is the quickfire interview, which is like super easy, it's super fun. But I do other interviews as well. You know, we're working on a long form thing. You know what I'm saying? We're coming for you, YouTube. You know the vibes. I'm gonna try work on a long form thing to actually sit down with people and like have deeper conversations.
Yeah.
But, I think you know, I just do my research, and a lot of the time, the people I interview, I care about, or like I'm a fan
But
of.
that comes through.
Right.
I mean, same for me with every guest that I have,
Right.
I'm a fan of, you know?
Right.
So it's
So
like...
It's
yeah.
easier, especially
Yes,
when
of
you
course.
appreciate somebody.
When you've been dialed into what someone's
Bro,
been
like-
doing for years and
like
years.
last night, I was at the Champion event for Kenny Allstar. Big up Champion. You already
Okay.
know the vibes.
Yeah.
They're not paying me to say that, but that way. But even Kenny Allstar, legend, and you know, he's a fan of my work. I'm a fan of his work, and like the energy on camera is amazing. And we're talking about, what's our top 3 mad about bars, and we're arguing, and you know, it was cool. And it's weird though, because I wasn't nervous when I interviewed Sench, and I was quite surprised because I wasn't nervous at all. And then I remember afterwards, I felt like so sick and like so anxious. And it wasn't anything to do with him. It was more about I knew what that interview was going to do for my life.
Yes. I know.
And I
exactly
was
what
like,
you mean.
I didn't know. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat.
Yes.
Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
My belly was twisted up. I was
Yeah.
shitting up the place and that.
But it's
And then when I interviewed Kaylani, like, I was like, I interviewed her and I did a quick fire, but the interview was quite deep. And even afterwards, she was like, oh, you're really good at what you're doing. But I remember it was weird because after I interviewed her, I realized I was not like nervous one bit. And I was like, maybe I'm getting good at this.
Yeah.
And then,
Usually I'm really nervous before something.
yeah.
Like when I'm about to DJ or even these interviews on this podcast,
Yeah.
I'm always a bit nervous before. But then once you kind of, I think it's like the anticipation of something. Like you say, when you're interviewing Sench, that I bet like during it, you kind of feel like.
I don't know. I don't know.
For me, it's always the before bit because
I
I'm not in
used to get
control
that
of.
a lot.
You know, I'm not
But I
in
think
control of anything.
When I do the interviews now, I'm actually not nervous. It's weird.
I think the more that you do and the more established that you're becoming, it's like
I feel quite
becomes
relaxed
more part of you.
And I feel like people feel comfortable with me.
Yeah.
I don't push negative things, you know, it's all positive.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, teams and press and PR, they like having me around because I'm not publicizing bad thing. I'm not asking them stupid questions.
Yeah.
I might ask him a funny, your favorite porn star and that, but like, it's just a bit of banter, innit? Like, it's not like fucking, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
of course, man.
So, yeah.
What's your relation? What would you say your relationship with social media is like? I mean, obviously it's very central to what that you're doing, but are you quite good with like, you just post what you're doing and then get on with the next thing? Or do you feel that?
Nah, I'm awful, man. My screen time.
Yeah.
Obviously,
what's your screen time saying?
Bro, you know what? I'm gonna keep a buck with
you. Do you know what? Can I check mine? But you need to tell me how to do it. I really want to do this.
Just go into your settings.
Settings.
Type in screen time.
Okay, right.
Right,
I'm really curious. Who's got more screen time, me or FD from the future? Okay, daily average. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
9 hours 52 minutes.
6 hours 12 minutes.
But then, like,
that's not a great difference there. I mean, that's
to be fair.
Daily. So I'm on.
I don't
look at these stats.
Bro, in a week I'm doing 49 hours.
How do I see?
But you want to know what? This is last week. So I've been busy, innit? I've had jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the time when I'm on my phone is work. So it's like, but still.
There was times when I got fired, I was doing.
I've never really monitored my screen time. Like.
Sorry.
That's cool.
When I got fired, I was doing like 16 hours a day on my phone.
Right. Yeah, because there's nothing going on.
Well, no. Like, I was doing 16 hours of work.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Do you edit all your own videos as well and do all that whole thing? Yeah.
The only time you will ever see me not edit is if a brand does it for me.
Okay, yeah. Who do you look up to style-wise?
Now?
Yeah. Who do you think's like...
I like Larry June's style.
Larry June, who's that?
He's a rapper from San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Larry's style, but I don't really look up to anybody's style, to be honest. But Larry's cool, though.
People's style that you really like?
Not really. Like,
I find that so curious because, I mean, it's
I just don't really like, I don't know. I just feel like everybody dresses the same.
Really? I mean, okay, so I like the way Skepta dresses. I think his fits are good. I like the way A$AP Nast dresses.
Yeah.
I like the way A$AP Rocky dresses.
Yeah. But I preferred how A$AP Rocky used to dress when I was growing up. Like on Tumblr and that.
Okay, yeah. What, like sort of 2016 time?
Yeah, that's how I loved his style.
But I just thought that was sort of style and fashion is something that's so much part of you. I'm kind of surprised
I don't know, man. I don't really... I care more about product.
Okay.
Than like people's style. Like I might see like Nast in a jacket and be like, whoa, that jacket's fire.
Okay, yeah. But it is a kind of, I guess it is an art. It's a, a fit pick.
No, I mean,
it's a very creative thing, isn't it?
There's so many fly people.
Yeah.
I just don't really. I'll keep a buck on socials. I don't really watch like that. Yeah. I like watching like dumb shit on socials. Like, there's a guy I watch on YouTube called The Outdoor Boys.
Okay.
Have you watched him?
No.
He's this guy in Alaska who like his YouTube, he just will like go to like the mountains of Alaska and like build an igloo and show you how to do that and like catch a deer or something and like show you how to cook it and like go fishing and like fish sharks and shit.
Is this like end of the day type watching?
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't like because I'm so engulfed in that scene. I try to just not do that.
You need to kind of check
like,
out from that scene.
Daily, I watch interviews daily. I listen to podcasts daily.
Yeah,
interviews are my main thing. I love listen to people. Like, I've watched every Nas, Skep, everybody's interviews I've watched.
Where did you see me with Pro Green then?
Bro, this is what I'm saying, bro. You know what's so fucked, yeah?
Because Green was quite smart at the time. That I remember when I was on tour with him, Instagram just came out.
Bro.
And so, but he was smart enough to get someone to come with us and film the whole thing.
Bro, aren't you in the background of one of his F-64s?
Yes, I am.
Shut up, bro.
Yeah, I am.
This is what I'm saying, bro. Because
like the OG one when it's over the Biggie beat.
Yeah, and your hair wasn't blonde, and it was like.
Yeah, it's just my normal color.
It was like, what do they call it? Strawberry blonde. Like,
no,
like
just
dark.
brown hair.
Yeah, but you had a hoodie on and it was tied up. You would always have a hoodie on and it was tied up.
Yeah.
And you were quite skinny, innit?
I was, yeah.
And
Do you not think I am now?
I mean, now you're looking alright. But you would always have like, didn't you go on tour with him and shit?
I toured with him for like 8 years.
Bro.
8, 9 years.
I'm telling you, bro, I'm a student of everything, bro.
Yeah.
Fashion, music, all of that. I've watched everybody's shit. G.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm a dork, G. Like, really.
Respect. But I think we all are, man.
I used to always see you in his videos.
Yes.
Like his tour shit.
Yeah.
Freestyles, you would always be there.
Yes.
And then when I seen you, I was like, is that him? Because I was like, surely that's not him. And then earlier when you said, I'm from Northwest, I was like, oh, it's not him.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
And then when I asked you, I was like, what? That's because that's like memory from when I was like 11, 12.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, it's a story of like getting obsessed with DJing when I was like 16. I won a competition. And one of the heats was in Crawley, by the way, and I can't believe I didn't bring that up. I can't remember the name of the venue.
A DJ? You did a set?
Yeah, so
with Pro Green?
No, I won a DJ competition when I was 16. It was called DMC.
It was probably at the Hall Theatre, maybe.
Yeah, rings a bell.
Yeah, it was probably at the theatre.
And then like the final was in Romford.
Mad.
And
yeah, the whole theatre was actually legendary still.
Yeah.
We did a lot of shit there, man.
So I mean, how it came about was I got really good at DJing, and then you know what we're talking about, how important it is leaving the house. Like I just met Green at Wireless Festival, and he was like, I need a DJ for like a couple of gigs.
Oh, wow.
And that was before he got signed. And the type of gigs, the 4 or 5 gigs, so it was the one was at the Macbeth in like Shoreditch. I don't know if that's even still open now. But they were the same sort of gigs that I'd been doing anyway. And then almost overnight, he got signed by Virgin. And suddenly I was just doing all this pop stuff.
Pro Green, a legend, bro.
Yeah, no, of course. He's yet to come on the podcast. But
yeah, are you still cool with him?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. I mean, we don't speak a lot because we don't work together. Do you know what I mean? And he's like in South and I'm in Northwest. And so it's kind of, I guess like when you get to a certain age, you need to make more of an effort to hang with people because everyone's just kind of so sort of focused on what they've got to do.
Yeah, shout out Pro Green. We
shout out Pro Green.
We spoke in the DMs briefly, but I loved Pro Green growing up.
Yeah,
man, because he's a cold rapper, bro.
Yeah,
especially all the SBTV shit.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Jamal Edwards, man, legend.
For real, for sure, man.
Legend.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're heading towards the end of the interview, FD. But I was like, you've touched on it a little bit already, but like, have you got plans that you want to share with people? Do you know what's going to be, what you're going to be?
Not really,
shooting
for? I just think like,
or where you see it going. You talked about product quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take over the world, but I'm gonna take over the world. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna just take over the world, man. And I just wanna. My main goal is to be the best version of myself, lead with good intention, and just make cool shit like product, content, shit like that, man, and just change the game, innit? I think I'm already changing the game.
Yeah.
But I want to do it on a larger scale and then build opportunity for other people to do it as well. So I really care about community. That's like my main goal right now.
Yeah.
Building community, just building conversation, things like that.
I love how you've said you want to be the best version of yourself. And what do you think you would tell your younger self now? Where do you think the younger self was, where do you think he was going wrong?
Bro, I'll just tell him it's okay to be yourself. You can just go home. I know that sounds so stupid, but sometimes I should have just gone home, innit?
Yeah.
Should have just gone home.
Yeah.
Just stayed at home. Because nowadays when I see like 14-year-olds and they're just like playing Fortnite, I'm like, bro, that's what a 14-year-old should be doing.
Yeah.
Not seeing somebody shooting heroin in
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
alley of like shops. Like
yeah,
that is
yeah.
not what you should be seeing at that age, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or like seeing somebody getting jumped at 15 and like
Mm,
that shouldn't be people's reality,
yeah.
you know? And also like just be yourself, innit? I think the problem with me, which brought me so many traumas and regrets and was I did so much in my life to fit in. And then when I moved to London, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not fit in. I'm just gonna be me, and whatever else happens, happens, innit? And then now look,
Yeah.
my whole life I spent just trying to fit in, and all it ever brought me was bad shit.
Yeah.
It never brought me anything good.
I think you have to go through that because I can totally relate as well.
I know, but I just feel like I say this to my girl all the time. I feel like when I moved to London is when I really started living life. I feel like everything else before that wasn't really like, I don't know, it's weird. Because I do have good memories, but like, I
Do you
just feel like
feel-
my life actually makes sense now.
Yeah.
It never made sense before.
Yeah. I was going to ask you one last question. What are you most proud of in your life that people might not immediately recognize?
Showing up.
And how that ain't always easy.
Yeah, I think showing up.
For yourself. You talk about that moment in the kitchen.
Yeah, for myself.
From that moment to where you are now.
Yeah, for myself, for other people, for the game. Like, just showing up, innit? I think I'm proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm me, innit? Like, I showed up for myself, innit? Like, I didn't show up for my brethren. I didn't show up for my girl, my mum, no one. I got put in a position that I had to make something happen, and I made that shit happen. And I didn't play the victim. I didn't do all of that. I just showed up and I put in the work. Like you know, the problem is with like this generation and even like people older than me. Everybody complains all the time, and there's so much complaining in this thing. Like, oh yeah, this and that. Like, oh, how do you get this? And other people don't. But it's like, you don't put in the work though. Yeah. Like, how are you gonna like complain about a next man when you've not even done a smidge of what that man has done?
I think like growing up, you sort of reach a point where you think, fuck, like no one's coming to save me. Like no one's gonna make my life fantastic apart from me.
Right. That's
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like you need to have that realization of
like when I needed to make rent, I was like, I'm either gonna make something with my life, or I'm gonna go back to my mum's yard, and I'm probably gonna, I don't even know, start trapping, bruv. Yeah. Because like I just didn't know what else I could have done with my life.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gonna make something happen. Yeah. And no one can help me. Yeah. And that's what I did, innit? Yeah.
Well, FD, man, I'm going to continue enjoying the show. Yeah. The FD from the future show. Come on. I think that's all we got time for, man. But I just want to say thank you for coming down, bro. It's like really good to meet you.
My guy.
And respect, man.
Legend, bro. My guy. Come on, you know the vibes.
FD from the You
know it. That way.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of I'm As Shocked As You Are. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.